Hey guys, happy Monday. Hope you all are doing well. You had a fantastic weekend. I know weekends and weekdays are kind of blurring together these days. Had a good weekend. I didn't do too much yesterday. I was trying to get through that Tiger King show that we're all going to review and discuss tomorrow night on our member Zoom call. Speaking of, we do have a Zoom call tonight for members. We posted it in the Facebook Waterside Home Workouts page. So if you're a member and you have not been included in that group, please let one of the coaches know so that we can make sure we add you in there and you can get the link. At 6:30 tonight, we're going to get together. We're just going to stretch and socialize. Or if you don't feel like stretching, you can just hang out and socialize. It's going to be a really fun time. We had a great time at the trivia night last week. So now that I have you here, I think I've given everybody enough time. We're going to go ahead and jump right into our front rack work for today. So in terms of today's sort of bonus feature, we're going to talk about the front rack problems that we experience. Generally speaking, there are kind of two issues that we come up with when people struggle with the front rack position. And we're talking about the front rack position in the front rack or the clean or anything where you need to be in this stabilizing position. And even we're going to get into some of that overhead position and the snatch work as well. Anyway, there are two main problems that we run into: mobility, and then that strength in the back and the strength to hold that position up. So we're going to talk about and work through some mobility issues. I'm going to show you a bunch of stretches. We're going to do it, maybe not a whole ton of time spent on it so that I can get you through and get this info to you, but we will save this video so you can go back and rewatch it as many times as possible. So let's get right into some of the first mobility problems. I'm going to start towards the outside and work my way in a little bit. We're going to talk about the wrists. So in that front rack position, if your wrists are very inflexible, it's going to make it very difficult to hold onto the bar. You're going to notice that's when you're going to see some people kind of up on their fingertips with just one or two fingers holding the bar there. So let's go ahead and work on some wrist mobility. I'm going to show you two stretches here. First one is simply to get down on the floor in a straddle position. I'm not going to go over the basic ones that we all do all the time. That's the one where you sit here. What we're going to do here, sit in that straddle position, and now we have our hands down here. Try to relax your legs, toes back. So I'm not here in this position. I'm here. If you notice, I can't quite get my palm all the way to the floor until I lean into it, and now I feel it even more in that wrist. So you're going to feel it in the back of the wrist here, on the back side. Fingers towards you. Kind of push through that stretch a little bit more. Some of these mobility exercises today are going to require some equipment. If you don't have anything, I'm going to show you some alternatives. And then if not, I just want you to take note of it. So if you do get that band or a place to do it, that you'll be able to incorporate those into your stretching or when we get back into the gym. Next one. For the wrist, you're going to take a band and tie it around a post, a door frame, whatever you might have. You can even take a towel and tie it around. You're going to put your wrist through it. You're going to turn it away so your fingers are pointing out. Put your hand, your opposite hand on top of that hand. Arms up straight, and I just want you to kind of crank over here. Again, feeling that in the back of the wrist. You can do about 10 per side. You can play around with how far out you go away from that point of contact with the band. And then, of course, you would just switch. Again, you show it. Put your hand through. Fingers are going to go away from that band. Get a little tension on it. Other hand on top. Kind of crank over. Again, feeling this through the wrist. Getting it a little worn. A little flexy. You can do about 10 on that side. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Next issue I want to talk about is that grip on the bar. So a lot of people, when they grip the bar, well, not a lot of people, we'll say some Some people grip the bar very narrow, right here on top of their shoulders. My sister has a habit of doing this right here like this. What I want you to do kind of limits where you can go. Take your wrists out, your hands out, gets a better grip. Now you can tell, even with just the PVC, which is very hard to get into the front rack, you can tell that my elbows are able to come up much better. It allows your chest to be in a good position. When you're narrow here, so I'll show you, my hands are right on top of my shoulders. When I'm squatting here, I don't have anywhere for my chest to go. So what happens? This, and I pull up through my back. Now, if I take my hands out into that wide grip position, I'm able to have that tall torso, chest sticking up with elbows out here. And now when I'm standing up, I have somewhere to push through and for. All right? So talk about the grip on the bar. Think about that as you're going to do front squats, cleans, anything of that sort. Now let's talk about some shoulder issues, shoulder mobility and concerns. This is going to apply a little bit more to the snatch, the overhead squat, that sort of thing. I said we would talk about both those mobility issues. So we're going to need a band, PVC, broomstick, whatever you might have, a towel. You're going to get here to this external rotation. So I'm trying to keep a full grip on the PVC, and I am turning my arm out, externally rotating right there and getting that elbow up in that same position that I would if I was able to have the bar on me. If you do not have a PVC or a broomstick laying around, then while we're doing this one, I want you to pull back into that tricep stretch. And I do want you actually to kind of pulse up and down. You can do about 10. I'm going to do about 5 for the purposes of this video. You just switch sides and again, try to have full grip on the bar. Torso up tall, facing forward. There you go. Set this to the side for a moment. I'm going to use the bench. If you don't have a bench, you can use an ottoman, a coffee table, or you can take it down to the floor, but I will warn you, it won't be quite the same as being elevated off the floor because you won't be able to go through as much of a range of motion. So again here, excuse me, we're working with your shoulder and that external rotation. So I want you to lay back here, feet up on the bench, and I want you to notice the small of my back is going to be on the floor and it's going to stay there. So I'm going to start arms overhead, palms up. I'm going to bring them forward, down, around in that snatch position. I felt my shoulder joint go all the way through that rotation. You're going to reverse it. Palms are going to have to rotate. So our palms are up, 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 rotate over, so they're down. Snatch position, pause. Notice here, my back is not coming up, so I'm not having to get here to do that. I don't want you to round your back or let your back come up off the floor. Keep that pressed into the floor. You're going to reverse it. When we would do this, I want you to do maybe about 6. We're going to do about 3 for the purposes of today. And pause. And then reverse. Palms facing up. Let's do one more here. Reach, reach, reach. We'll keep the small of your back in. Bring them forward. Palms up, down, around into that snatch position. And then don't forget to reverse it. Go. Warming up that external rotation there for you a little bit. One of the other issues that we find in the front rack position, less talked about, a little bit more so these days, is the lats mobility and the lats strength to be in that front rack position or to be in the overhead position. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on a roller. If you don't have a roller, I don't believe they've sold out in stores. There's a lot of them around. You may be able to use a can of soup or spaghetti sauce. Where to put mine? Right here. something a little bit tough, maybe even the head of a dumbbell. Yes, I know that sounds like it would hurt. If you have one, go ahead and grab it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get down on your side here. You can tilt that down a little bit. Good. You're going to get right on your lat. Your lat is that big muscle here, kind of on your side under your armpit. And I want you to externally rotate this arm. So that means I am rotating to the outside, to the behind me. So now my palm will be facing up, and I will get my lats there. So I'm on that side, rotating that up, and I can move. It doesn't have to cover a big ground. Notice my hips are on, and I'm just moving through my core. If I find a sticky point, I might just hold there. Breathe into it, and then start slowly moving that tight spot out again. I can even kind of move forward versus back, getting different angles of that lat. But if you're tight, you're going to want to spend 2 minutes here. We're not going to spend 2 minutes here. This will be a good video for you to come back and reference and pause and play as you do it and as you work on it. Especially if you're doing the equipment WODs this week. We have some squats coming at you again, like we did last week. All right, so that's one side. Let's go ahead and switch over to the other. Again, if you don't have a foam roller, let's be creative. What can we use to get that same movement? On your side, lat on the roller, externally rotate that arm. And again here, can be a small movement. I kind of move and play around with, okay, where am I tight? Where do I have that sticking spot? Find it. Breathe into it. And then I start moving it again. So these are a little bit of a neglected body part sometimes when we're getting ready to front squat or snatch or overhead squat. It doesn't take much to help it, but it does really go a long way if you can spend about 2 minutes per side. All right, we're good there. So come on up. Don't worry, we'll be coming back to it, but we're moving the body part at a time. So next we're going to get up. Going to head back to the rack a little bit. Grab your band. If you don't have a band, a towel will work just fine for this next one. It really will. You'll just loop it over. In fact, let me show you what that will look like. Take your towel, long waist, loop it over. Maybe you have a door frame. You can loop it through the kind of like the crack or the hook. Or if not, you can just hold on to something that feels pretty sturdy. You're going to take it in one hand. Take both ends. Walk away. The foot that's on the same side as the arm that's extended, you can reach back and push yourself down and forward, and you feel it through your lat here. I do. May even rotate that arm, rotate your arm so it's externally rotated up there, not out that way. And hold. Then switch to the other side. Again, come down here. Same leg as the arm that's out extended, and then externally rotate. That same motion that you would have in the overhead squat or snatch. Rotate that out. Hey, Roderick. Nature boy, what's up? Again, this is for the lats. This will help that position, and just a good thing to incorporate every so often anyway into your routine. Do that with a band or a towel, depending upon what you have. Make it work. You're going to move to your triceps next. Sometimes, believe it or not, triceps can kind of play a role in your mobility, in your ability to get into those positions. So you can do rig or floor. So a little bit trickier to get into without a band, but you still can do it by holding onto either end of the towel or a broomstick or a PVC, whatever you have. You can step into it. You want to put your heel into it from the front, not through the back. Palm up. Heel on it, palm up through the front. So you're always going through the front. You're gonna reach down, get your, oh, I'm so sore from what I did this weekend. Get your hands relaxes. It's just holding on to the band as an anchor point. Then here, you push and open up your elbow. You feel this right down. This tricep muscle feels really tight right now. And you want to keep it close to your head. So you're not out here. You're right here, so you really feel that tricep position. If it's too much pressure, you have too thick of a band, all you do is keep your toes up and raise up to that point that you need. Or if you wanted to, you could squat down into it a little bit. But you want to open this up without flaring your ribs out and bending your back. That's not what we want. Or tight, ribs stay down. To come out of it, you can just raise your foot up and step out. Or you can also duck back under. I'll show you that other version here as we do the other side. Again, step in it from the front. Hand goes through the front. Relax your hand down and elbow up tall. Do not let your ribs open up here aggressively. Just follow the natural curve of your spine. Ribs down, elbow back, and bicep to ear. Your hand relaxes here. Hold it for about 20 to 30 seconds. Again, if it's too much pressure, you just come up until you can stand it. And then to get out, you can duck down and bring it out. So that's a tricep stretch option for you. You get a little more mobile, a little more flexible. Next thing you're going to do is something called the armless prayer. You can do this on the floor, or you can even elevate your arms up onto a box or a bench. So on the floor, you're going to get into that child's pose. And then you're going to bring one hand here, flat on the back. Other hand flat on the back. Raise your hips up a little bit so you can press your chest to the floor. If you're not feeling that, because you're pretty flexible and mobile, take it here. Hands flat. You have to sit back enough that your head doesn't get caught on the bench, and then you push through. You can spend 30 seconds to a minute here. Go ahead and come on up out of that. So that's your triceps for you, how to get your tricep moving, warm, and opening. Next body part we're going to talk about is your thoracic spine. So all of this thoracic kind of around your chest, is it able to move? Is it strong enough to hold that position? We're going to talk about its mobility issues first, and then we'll go into the strength positions and how to get that a little bit stronger. This one you're going to need to pull your roller back out. Ideally, you have a long one that your head and your butt can fit on. I don't have that, so what I'm going to do is just put something, some plates or something, so that my butt can fit under. Improvising, right? That's what we're learning to do, is just adapt with the stuff we have. A little bit closer. All right, that's about up there. So I'll put my butt here, and then my spine and my head up on that roller. Run away. So getting into the thoracic again. You're going to need your PVC or your broomstick as well. You can do this on the floor if you don't have a foam roller. Just follow along so you can see what it's looking like. You're going to get supine, means belly up. On the roller, you want to make sure your head is on it and your back is engaged on the roller as well, so you're not falling off of it and your back isn't coming up. You'll be able to push your back into it. Get into that pass-through position. You can have your feet on the floor. That's absolutely fine. And then all I want you to do is a pass through. All the way open, as far as you can go, and then back up. We're going to do 10 slow. Come up and touch your hips, and then go back down. Focus on that external rotation within the elbows and the shoulder joint here, keeping your back flat. So what I don't want is that when you're overhead here, that your back comes up so that your arms can go back. No, keep your back into that roller as you come forward and back, and only go so far as that range of motion allows. I think I'm at about 5. I'll be honest, I'm not positive, but I'm going to say that was 6. Two more. Next thing, we're not even going to get up. We're just going to set the PVC off to the side, just out of reach. We're going to do a snow angel. No, there's no snow, but we're going to have palms up, and I'd like you to have fingertips on the ground, so everything open here. If you're not able to, then take this to the floor. Take yourself off the foam roller so that you can get your fingertips on the floor. But here we go, snow angel. You're going to come up. I've got stuff in my waist that I can be in your camera screen view. But I want you to only go so high above that you can keep your fingertips on the floor. I'm able to go all the way, but some of you might get stuck here or here, wherever you can, that your fingertips still drag on the floor, and you're going to come all the way down and then all the way up. And keep your arms reaching out, externally rotating as you're going up and coming back down. Always fingertips touching and dragging the floor. Get a little cleaning done while we're here. You can do 6 to 8 of these. I believe that was 3. Feeling my shoulders get warm and flexible. Making sure I'm keeping my back in contact with the foam roller. Not sacrificing that position just to get my hands up overhead. We're going to do one more up and down. Up. And back down. Awesome. That was another supine stretch. So now we're going to move all this stuff. Slide these back out of the way. Get back on the roller, but the normal way that we usually do it. Right here. Once you get high on your thoracic spine here, so we're right about shoulder blade height. Watch your hair if you've got long hair. Otherwise, you'll get stuck in your head pulled back. I want you to cross your arms on top of each other here, so just holding. And I want you to just sit there. So your hips are on the ground. You're going to lean back, head touches the ground. Come up very carefully here. I'm going to do 2 in that position. And then what are we going to do? We're going to move up on that foam roller a little bit more. Okay, so I moved up that way so that the foam roller actually went down my back a little bit more. Back. Up. One more. Up. And again, move up that foam roller. The foam roller moves down your back a little bit more. One more spot. All right. How's that? Not too bad, right? Starting to feeling that in your shoulders, getting warm, getting flexible, getting loose. I'm gonna go back to the supine position. One more time here. Pull those plates back over. Improvising here with what you have. So if you don't have the stuff, you're just on the floor, which is absolutely fine. But on the plates, you have a long foam roller. Awesome. Make sure your head and your low back are on everything. So you're not rounding here, not getting that gap between you. Relax one hand, other hand is gonna go behind your head. And all that you're going to do here in this position is raise your elbow, push it back down to the floor as much as you can, pause. Raise your elbow, back down to the floor as much as you can. Up, down, open, without springing the low back up. Keep it pressed down. Try to get that elbow to the floor. And pause. I have to really focus to get my elbow down there. One more. You can do about 10 each side. I know I didn't do 10, and then you're gonna switch. The other hand just relaxes. Elbow up, down to the floor. That side, I can't quite get it there. I'm wanting to arch, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go as far as I can, not worry about it. So clearly I have an imbalance here. I'm a little bit tighter. That's pretty common that we have imbalances as far as strength and mobility goes. That's why single arm, single leg work, as well as a regular stretching routine is so crucial. You can do 10. I'm going to do just one more here. Awesome, guys. Good. Now, let me just check that I don't need these again, so I have to get it. Nope, don't need it again, so I am going to slide these back out of the way. I don't think that we really need the roller anymore either, so you can move that out of the way. Going to get into squat position. Good squat position here. You're going to have one hand down reaching towards the floor, one hand up, hand behind your head, and you're going to rotate towards that elbow that's up there. Rotate. I feel that right now all through my thoracic spine, where my rib cage is. You do 6 to 8 per side. Try to remember to be in a good squat position here so we don't develop any bad habits. So your knees are pushed out, your chest is up tall, hips are down. You're going to switch. So one palm down, one hand behind your head. Reach up, rotate, come back to center. We're going to do one more to make it 6. Good, guys. Arms up and stand. Woo-hoo. We readjust this. We're going to go to the rig or your door frame, whatever you might have. Take that band. Tie it up. Mid-belly. We'll adjust it as we go if we need to. You don't want too heavy of a resistance of a band, so you can do this without anything. If you want, this is going to be a little bit too thick for me. I don't have any other option though, so let me show you what it would look like. You can do this with the crossover symmetry when we get back into the gym. You do this with a light band, light rope, whatever you might have, but you're going to do a banded snow angel. So you do want to have your palms facing forward. Oh, this is going to be too tight for me. Thought it would work. No, that's still not going to do it. All right, so you can grab anything that you have, or you can just stand here with back to the wall. Don't have the wall available right now, but you're back to the wall and fingertips against the wall. And you just bring your arms up overhead and back down with your fingertips touching the wall. So imagine I'm standing there against a wall, and I'm dragging my knuckles as I go up and down. Now up here overhead, important that your ribs don't come out, just to keep your fingers in contact. Keep your ribs tucked, glutes squeezing as you come up and down. You can do about 10 here. I'm trying to keep it nice and tight as if I did have a wall there. Palms facing forward. Keep my ribs down at the top. I don't know where I'm at, so I'm going to say 3 more. Total of 10. And last one. Awesome. Great job, guys. You're going to take your PVC or your towel or your broomstick, whatever you have there. If you have an empty bar, Get that grip on it. Rotate, externally rotate. That means you turn the elbow pit. Yes, elbow pit, just like an armpit, up towards the ceiling. You're squeezing those shoulder blades back and down together. So get that up overhead. And then you're going to come down to a squat. And then back up. Trying to stay upright, nice and controlled. Maybe even hanging out in the bottom. And rotating those shoulders, standing back up. So I am pulling and pushing on that PVC. I'm not just coming down and up with a loose limb. I am tight. I am rotated. All right, again, about 8 to 10 of those. Good range to do. Okay, we got one more here. One more move. You might have seen this earlier today. I actually saw it on Instagram. I did have this together before then, but you know, there's a lot of great stuff out there. You're going to take the band, tie it up around your doorpost, your column, rig. You're going to get into it. Put it under your shoulders. Watch your hair. Right under your shoulder blades. Step back into it. You're going to sink down to a squat. So you might have to adjust it as you go. You're pulling back. And then here, rotating those shoulders. Rotate them. Arms overhead. And then you can bring them down. Arms up. Rotate. And down. Arms up. Rotate. And down. Again, playing around with how much you're letting that pull on you. Rotate. And down. We do about 6 to 8 of those. Let's go 2 more. Arms up. Rotate. And down. Arms up. Rotate. And back down. Come out of that carefully. So just to recap, some of those last ones were just about developing strength through the shoulders, the thoracic portion of your spine, just building up the strength and strengthening that, so that way when you're in the front rack position or the snatch position, you have not only mobile body parts to be able to get into those positions, but the strength to be able to hold the weight in those positions as well. So they're all important. We did kind of go over mobility and strength for both the front rack and for the overhead squat or snatch, whichever one that you need to work on. If you tried these out, they didn't really work for you, get to one of us, we'll give you some more specific things. It's a great place to start. Go back, rewatch this, try the exercises in full, and then if you want, right now you have some time and you can, go ahead and get into maybe some front squat practice. So practicing the front rack position. Do an EMOM with 2 front squats. Maybe you need to work on the overhead squat. So maybe you do a 10-minute EMOM with 2 front squats in 1 minute and 2 overhead squats in the next, and building up in weight as you can tolerate, building up those positions for the front rack and the overhead position. I hope you enjoyed this little bonus session, bonus seminar with me today. I will be coming back to you in about an hour and a half. We changed the schedule today. So I'm going to go at 4 o'clock today with our no equipment WOD. And then don't forget, at 5 p.m., we have our guest coach for today, Noah Olson, will be coming on at 5 to do a special workout that he has designed for you. And then again at 6:30, we have our member Zoom call, and we'll be doing some stretching and some socializing. So I hope to see you virtually, at least on any one of those calls. If you have any questions about what we went over today, feel free to let me know. Just reach out and chat with me. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.